For those of you who may not know, that's my wife, Jackie. I did good. I had 2 candy bars once. And I hid them. And I hit them good. Hit them good. I went and ran an errand, 20 minutes. I came back, she's on her 2nd candy bar. She said, "You got to do better than that." I mean, so I don't even try. I don't even try. Remember, if you have kids in our children's ministry, 11:15 is the pickup time this morning. Also remember that we will be receiving an offering right at the end of the message, right before the last song of the morning, so you may want to go ahead and prepare yourself for that. We had a first in our 21-year, almost 22-year ministry. A first this week. One of our elders graduated from this life to the next. And that's Dave Thor. Yeah, you can applaud that. That's a good deal. And I think some of Dave's family's here, and it's okay if they don't applaud, because it's kind of a, it's a mixed bag. It's a sad time, but it's a glad time for them. But Dave Thor, he was a good one. In the scriptures, it talks about how every believing man should at least aspire to become an elder. And I've known Dave since I was in high school, and I'll never forget, right down here, right there, I'm talking to some folks one day, and Dave comes up and he says, "I want to be an elder." Okay. Well, you don't just say that and become one. And it's certainly not a political voted on decision. It's one where elders have to kind of look you over. So I sent him to our elders, and they examined him pretty well. And they said, yeah, he is one. So the family right now, they're making some arrangements for people to be coming in from all over the country. Not sure about the memorial service yet, but we think it'll be here in this room, so we'll let you know. Dave knew my father. My dad, he got to heaven about a decade before Dave. But both of them were kind of out of the same mold. My dad was a practical guy. Never could get anything on. He was just a practical guy. I remember once, I was going to use my own money because I was working, and I said, "Dad, I'm gonna buy a convertible." And he said, "Just roll down your window and stick your head out." He says the same thing. What's sad about that is at this point of life, I kind of agree with him. But if you have a ragtop you don't want, I still kind of like them. I grew up in a really practical home. My dad was a church guy, like Dave. And Dave was a believer in tithing, same as my dad. My dad was a tithing animal. Whatever he got paid, 10% was going to go to the work of God through the local church. And I remember, I thought I had him on this one. When the local church, this one especially, he would kind of watch the ebb and flow of our finances. And when it kind of went south, he would say, "Son, do we have any extra?" "No, Dad, we're running pretty thin right now." He said once, "You let me on that stage one time." Now, this is a good elder. I mean, I could have done. "You let me on that stage one time, and I'll tell him the truth." And I thought I had him. So I said, "Yeah, Dad, and those 7 people who are there the next Sunday, they're all going to tithe. You'll run the rest of them off." I thought I had him, but without missing a beat, he said, "I'll do more with those 7 tithers than you will with 700 who don't." What are you going to do? I mean, I never got. My dad was a practical man. I grew up in a practical home. Some of you probably grew up the same way. Common sense was pretty much the only requirement at our house. They were encouraging. My mom's still on this side of heaven. Very encouraging parents. If I said early on I wanted to be a fireman, they said, "That's great. Be the best you can be." The next week when I said, "I want to be an astronaut," They didn't laugh. They didn't put me down. They just said, then be the best astronaut you could be. If I said, I want to quit school and lie around the house, nope. You're not going to do that. Not okay. At 15, I said, I want a job. And I don't mean just a little summer. I want a job. And my dad said, I'll help you get a job. At 15, and one day on the job, I said, I want to quit. It's not okay. Couldn't quit. You did not have to be an Albert Einstein to live at the Disher home. That was good for me. So then came the time I felt this weird prompting to follow God's Spirit and just spend my life working in a local church. My dad said, be the best you can be. So I took all the stuff that I had grown up with, practical stuff, and I carried it with me into the vocation of Christian ministry. I saw the church from 1978 when I preached my first sermon, 1983 when I was ordained and I started working in the church. I saw the church as just a common sense place. You go, you listen, you learn, you invest, and then you take all that and you go outside the walls and you just do something with it. To me, that's all it was. But then, you mess some stuff up. You sin. Now, you're a Jesus follower. You believe in Jesus still. You believe in what you've learned. You believe in the Bible. You know it's true. You know you should have followed the Bible, but you didn't follow the Bible, and you messed up. You sinned. Whether you're a person in the seat, whether you're a person in the pulpit, you sinned. What do you do with that? Do you run? Do you hide? Do you quit? No, you just do something very practical. You tell God you're sorry. I learned to do that. And then I learned when I said I was sorry, God forgave me. People forgave me. Not all the time. But then you go on. And that's what I hope you'll hear today. That you mess up, you confess it to God, God forgives you. Whether humans forgive you, it would be nice if they all did, but even if they don't, then you go on. I still see church like that today. It is just extremely practical. And it's not that complicated, really. I think it's pretty simple. From time to time, people will say, I want to go deeper into the life of the church. I want to go deeper. I had someone once, and when it didn't quite work out for them, I don't think they're part of a church today, which is sad. But they said, I want to know what goes on behind the scenes of Remade Church. I said, okay. Nothing. Nothing. No, I want to know nothing. Nothing goes on. Look, it's like the guy who said once to Jackie and me, he said, I want to be a fly on the wall of your home just to see how a pastor and his family lives. You're going to be real disappointed, for one, because it's not always like what you see on Sunday. And two, I'm telling you, my wife Jackie, she can take a dish towel and kill a fly quicker than a Navy SEAL can kill the Taliban. I mean, you don't have a chance if you're a fly on the wall at our house. It's amazing. I mean, you just see it and all of a sudden, whack, it's gone. It's gone. If you peel back the curtain, I don't know if this is true in other churches. It's been so long since I've been in one. If you peel back the curtain on Remade Church, and you look beyond Sunday morning, you look beyond the service, let me tell you what you're going to see. You're going to see a bunch of people, Monday through Saturday, Sunday afternoon to Sunday morning. They're just working with the gifts God gives them. That's all there is. No secret sauce. Just a bunch of working people. Someone says, what do you do all week? Spend a whole lot of time staring at a book, a Bible, and a computer screen. That's what teachers do. Spend a lot of time studying. Not a real secret. A lot of people here tend to have skills in helping people hands-on. And what those people do, they just spend a lot of time in kitchens and in living rooms and on the telephone and in hospitals and in nursing homes and places like that. There's no secret sauce. Those who are talented with moving money, with dealing with money, then they come here and they go out on Monday and they see what you gave on Sunday and they try to make it stretch until the next week. Just very simple. Those who are musically creative, nothing secret about this. They do a lot of planning and a whole lot of practicing when you and I aren't looking. And that's why it's as good as it is when we get to be here. Some people just like to see clean stuff. Some people like to see lawns that are, I call it a yard, but some of you, it's your lawn, but it's my yard. Some people like to see a church yard manicured. Some people like to see weeds killed or buildings repaired or cleaned, and they just do it. No secret. So what you're a part of here is just an extremely practical place. If there's something you don't know, call the church office and we'll talk to you about it. We'll tell you how it works because there are no secrets here. Now, if you look beyond Sunday, if you look beyond when all the lights stop spinning and the praise teams aren't here and the preaching is done and the building is empty, you might say, so Eric, it really is that simple? Yes, church is that simple because that's the way God created it to be. So I've done this for about 40 years. I've been behind the scenes and I've been under the lights. I can tell you 100 ways why you should attend church. If it's not here, you've heard us say it often, and I continue to say it often. If this is not the place for you, just tell us, and we will help you find a place where you fit. No hard feelings. You don't have to kick the dog on the way out. But church is a simple place. And in my 40 years of working in it, I can tell you 100 different reasons why you should attend a local church. I can tell you why people who are far from God need to attend a local church. And here's what I tell people. The church is a place to go get stuff. You come here to get stuff. Maybe it's not always something you can hold, but maybe it's something you can't really find anywhere else. Some of you go to church to get relationships. And I know, the relationship with Jesus, that's the big shot. But even if you don't have a relationship with Jesus yet, we believe you will if you stick around. Even if you don't have that yet, you will get relationships with human beings. And that's important. In Genesis 2, that's the first thing God said wasn't good, that a person be alone. So you come and you form relationships. Had it not been for the church, I don't know that Jackie and I would have ever met. We met through a local church. You come here to get friendships. One of my favorite questions, and a lot of you have been asked by me, when I see you hanging around other people from Remade, I want to know this. Did you know each other before Remade Church? And I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 times people say no. That's thrilling to my family. Because if nothing else, you're forging relationships that matter with other human beings. Some of you made business contacts in the church. Some of you have actually come to church with the idea that you're going to do business. That's not a sin. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you open up a business in our lobby and start putting out your cards, we're going to throw them away. I mean, can't do that. We don't want a competitive thing going on, but it's just practical. But here's the truth about all that. I know you can find a mate, you can find friendships, and you can get business contacts without the local church. So there has to be more to the church than that. If you're a parent of a small child, at least once a week, free babysitting. Well, I mean, it's not supposed to be free. You're supposed to be tithing, but some of you is free. I mean, it's built in. It'll give you a break. I mean, at least you can come up here and sit for a little while. And one thing you don't see, I know a lot of you, when I'm talking, you're like this. Parents of small children who are kind of out there, they never look at their watch. They say, preach on, Eric. Just keep going. Keep going. 2 or 3 o'clock, it'll be okay with us. I mean, let somebody else deal with those brats for a while, right? Isn't that what you think? Oh, Eric, you called them brats. Maybe yours aren't. Mine were. And one of them's sitting here this morning. I mean, she's older now, but her husband may say she's a brat, but she was a brat when she was a kid at times. I check in on our nursery from time to time when our services get started, or I'll go to the children's ministry about once a month, and I'll look around and just say hi to some of the great volunteers that we have. And the question always comes to my mind, always the same thing. Do you feed them sugar just on Sundays? Is this the only day you're cramming sugar into your kids? Because, you ought to go down there and watch. I mean, man, okay, all right, enough of that. See, parents really hope that when they take their kids to church that they're going to get some kind of solid foundation when they're taught, and they do here. But the truth is this, you do not need the church for a babysitting service. You can find that anywhere. You don't need the church to teach them good stuff. You can find that in a lot of different places, so there must be more. What the church gives you is stuff. It gives you knowledge that the world is bigger than your backyard. One of the thrills that we have is when that little bratty kid that I was talking about, well, she grew up and she's now the youth minister of this church. And she's nuts about missions. I mean, we dread it here. Staff dreads it here because we know here it comes again. They're going on a mission trip and it just shuts everything else down because they're one-track people. Let's just get this mission stuff going. But what I've seen over time is that many of the kids, many of your kids, some have moved on, they're in ministry today because Ashley have pushed them on mission trips. There are adults sitting in this room, mentors, who went to various places of the world with these kids and their lives were changed. So one of the things the church will give you is that an understanding that the world is bigger than Davidson County. Some of you who know Michael Cook, you've been asking about him lately. Where's Michael Cook? He's no longer here. Did he get mad? Did he leave the church? Yes. No, he really didn't. He's watching today from sunny state of Florida. But what we did as a church at Remade is we took Michael on. And we saw that he was in a position in his life to not be locked down to a particular place. So he went to Florida thinking that God may have something for him there. Now, all of you can't do that because you have other responsibilities. But Michael Cook is still a part of us, but we just help launch him to a different place on this planet. And what he's learning is that the world's bigger than here. So you get to have that stuff too. Something else the church will teach you is just how to have an understanding that you can live a little less selfishly in life. The world won't teach you that. It won't. I'm not anti-world and I'm not anti-teaching, but that's one thing they will not teach you, because the world teaches you this: grab onto stuff, hold on to stuff, because you worked for it, you earned it, and you deserved it. It is yours, so hold on. And you come to church, and the church teaches you not that it's a sin to have stuff, because it's not. It teaches you not to give it all away, because that was only asked of one person in history. It's in the Scripture. The church just teaches you, just relax your grip a little bit. Just a little bit. Just relax. The church will teach you that it's a good thing to give of yourself, to give a portion back, to give something beyond yourself. It just makes you a little less selfish. But here's the truth. There are a lot of places that'll do that for you. There are a lot of charities out there that aren't churches. A lot of places will do the same for you. They'll teach you to release your grip just a bit. So there has to be more. Here's my conclusion. This is going to take a little while, so don't get packed up. My conclusion is this. For 40 years, I've tried to show people the value of church for them. But I'm at a point in ministry today where I see something different. I see the value of you for church. Wonder what that was. Did you hear that? Sounded like somebody's burning some rubber out there. Yeah. Security! Boy, and that was a good point too. Let me go over that again and see if I can get the same emotion. I'm starting to see the value of you for church. Because you are the church. You're it. You're it. There's no plan B. There's no second church. You're it. It used to drive me crazy. People don't ask anymore, but they would say to those of us at Remade, when are you going to get a church? And what do you think they meant? Maybe you've said that too. Shame on you. People would actually come to this place, and after the service, they would say, when are you going to get a church? And I'd just point around. I'd say, it's better than where you go on Sunday. This is the nicest place in the county. And what we learned is it doesn't have anything to do with church. Because in 1 Corinthians 3, God says, you people, you are God's building. You're His building. So church is not a place where you attend. Church is a people that you are. I can tell you 100 different reasons you need church. But I want to spend a little bit of time telling you how much church needs you. Because church needs you. We do. Church needs me. It does. Here's what the critic will say. Church just wants your attendance and your money. You ever heard that one? It's partially true. Partially true. Let me show you a totally true statement. Church wants your attendance and money. And if you weren't paying close attention, you'll say, those are the same. No, those aren't the same thing at all. Because from the first one, I took out the word just. We don't just want more attendance, but we do want more attendance. Let me explain that. More attendance means more potential to minister in this world outside of our backyard. More attendance will do that. We don't just want more people, but we do want more people because it means more ministry. We don't just want more money, but we want more money. Because more money means more potential to minister in this world. It just does. That's not rocket science. You don't have to be an Einstein. That's very practical, and that's what the church is about. But that's not what makes the church unique. I mean, if you run a business, now think about it. If you have a business, what do you want? Well, you need more people and you need more money. That's what makes a business grow. If you work at a hospital, what do you want? You want more sick people. Because they bring money and it keeps the hospital going. If you may work in a school. You may be a teacher in a school, administrator in a school. What do you want? You want more kids in that school. You know why? Because more kids bring more money, and more money makes things happen. So for the church, it's not just about attendance and money, or as the Baptists say, nickels and noses. There has to be something more. Matthew 28. I'll start in verse 18. Jesus came and told His disciples, I've been given all authority in heaven and on earth. That's a lot. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I've given to you. And be sure of this, Jesus said, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. So Jesus said, since I own it all, since I have it all, since it's all mine, I want you to go. And I want you to make some disciples. Make some more people just like you. And then I want you to baptize them. We did some of that last week. And then I want you to teach them. I want you to teach them. That's called the Great Commission. A commission is a command. A commission is a command that you're going to accept a job and you're going to get the job done. That's what it's about. If you look around this room, look up in the corners. You'll see some moldings. This building actually burned many years ago. I mean, it was a wreck. But it was also on the National Historic Records as a historical building. So they came in and they gave money to this organization to rebuild this building. But it was so old that all the forms were gone. And they found a molding, like up in the corner. And they commissioned a group to hand make every one. So what that meant was that group was they were commanded by those who were paying them, you make these moldings to our specifications because it's important for us. Those moldings don't mean anything to you. They don't mean anything to me, but they mean something to the people who own this place. Why didn't the builders just slap up what they wanted? Because it's not their place. They were commissioned to build by someone else. It was someone else's plan and someone else's place. And that's what the church is. Let's go back to Matthew 16. We've talked about this now. This is our 6th week. Jesus said to the apostle Peter, he said, now I say that you're Peter, which means rock, and upon this rock I will build, here's the operative word, my church. And the powers of hell will not conquer it. For a long time I've told you what the church can give to you. And it's true. But you can get almost everything we can give you, you can get somewhere else. I don't want to kid you about that either. But there is only one place. There is only one place authorized by Jesus Christ to go into the world and bring people back to Him. There is only one place with that authorization, and you're sitting in one right now. And if you're watching us on live stream all over the world, you're watching one right now. We're glad that you are a part of this. See, His church is the only place in the world that can change the direction of people and give them the potential to change the world for God. It's the only place. Now, get this. If nothing else, it is the only place on the earth that hell cannot penetrate. No other place offers that. Hell can't penetrate the church. And I hope you're thinking about an unchurched family member or an unchurched friend or an unchurched coworker who needs that protection because they're probably going through what we would say hell on earth right now. I hesitate to use that because no matter what we go through, it ain't hell. So I don't want to lessen the impact. But if they're going through some really bad stuff and hell's kind of breathing down their throat, demons are kind of breathing down on them, this looks like Satan has picked them out to crush them. They need the protection of the only place on the planet that can give it to them, but they're not here. They're not with you. They're not with us. Jesus said, go get them and bring them and baptize them and teach them. And that's what we do. Where else are you going to go? They can't go to a mental health facility and get this. Mental health facilities are great. I recommend a lot of people there. But they can't go to get this. They can't go to a 12-step meeting and get protection from hell. They can't. And I love 12 steps. Can't go to the hospital and get protection from hell. The only place they can get. So where else are you going to take them? Jesus says nowhere. Nowhere. His church is it. And they're meeting all over the world today, but His church is it. So what I encourage you to do is you think about these people where hell might be breathing down their necks. Don't wait another 2 weeks. Because now you know the church, wherever you take them, the church is their protection from hell. As they grow and learn who Jesus is, what He means to them, and what He'll do for them. That's the protection. So if you're invested in someone, they may be far from God, they may be far from church. I think it's time to bring them home. Well, Eric, they won't come. I know how that goes. Ask them again. I might ask them 100 times and they won't come. 101's charm. Maybe. Just maybe. We'll talk more about that next week. I'm pretty excited about what's coming next Sunday morning, but we'll start closing up shop now. In just a minute, there's going to be some bowls passing around for an offering. There's going to be a time for you just to quiet down just a little bit, and I appreciate you listening to what I had to say this morning. But I want to finish up with prayer, and then we'll turn it over to our creatives. Pray with me, if you will. God, it will be so exciting for those names and faces that are coming into the minds of people who are sitting in this room. They're coming into the minds of people who are watching us live stream. They may be coming into the minds of people who will be watching this telecast throughout the week. And they're thinking about that person. They're thinking about the person that they love. And they're just in such bad shape. Some of them have sinned and fallen far short of your glory, and they're ashamed. Some of them are so mad, they don't want to hear the word church, or they don't want to hear God. Lord, I understand. We understand that. But it's not a time to give up on them. God, I pray that the name and the face that's in the minds of the people who are hearing this message, that they will not give up on that person. But they won't soften up either. As the man told me this morning, he said, I'm fed up with this situation. And God, that's a great place for us to be, because we'll move when we're fed up. So I pray that we get fed up with sin, and we get fed up with Satan. We get fed up with the gates of hell that are pushing people down. And we will bring them to a place that will lift them back up again. Thank you for your church. Thank you for the owner. His name is Jesus, and we love Him, Father. We love Him a lot.